Do you ever feel like your whole life is a juggling act and you miss that day of circus training school where they taught you how to do it? I totally get it, and I am here to help. My name is Kate Wood. I'm a Christian life coach, an emotional intelligence coach, a mom of five, and I love helping women overcome overwhelm and reduce their stress so that they can live a more joyful and authentic life. We have all these things that we want to do. We're juggling everything. And maybe in the past, when we were younger and had a little bit less responsibilities, maybe less children, maybe your job was different, you could kind of do everything all at once. You just had to work really hard. But I know for me in my life, I have hit a place in my business and my parenting, all the stuff, right, that we're juggling. I can't actually do it all anymore. No matter how hard I work, no matter how little I would sleep, which I don't really recommend either. And that's why I want to talk to you about how we can do this differently so that we're more effective, so that we're not driving ourselves crazy, so that we don't resent our lives, that we're not getting overwhelmed and stressed, right? Do all those things sound good? I sure hope so. All right, so let's jump into it. So we're going to call this way of thinking a holy hustle. And you might be like, Kate, I hate the word hustle. And I get it. But I think sometimes in our lives, we do actually need to pick up the pace and go kind of fast. We are doing a lot. Yes, do we want to program in rest and self-care? Absolutely. But I'm not going to sit around acting like you have 8 hours for self-care or that you can always go slow. So when we are considering how to use our time, our energy, we want to do it really smartly. And as a Christian life coach and a Christian, I want to do it under God's authority, under His direction, because I know my life works so much better that way. I've tried doing things independently and just buckling down, and it doesn't work so good. I need my Heavenly Father leading me and guiding me in those things that are most important. And so I'm going to encourage you to work and plan based on your faith, not just the time management techniques that you learned here and there. And I love that stuff and I teach that stuff. However, the overarching thing here is that we are guided by the Holy Spirit. We are guided by our faith, and that brings everything into alignment. Even if it doesn't always make sense to an outsider, we know that it is. We're going to get into 3 surprising facts about how you can look at things a little bit differently, have a different mindset, so that all of this actually works. We're going to talk about time management. I love time management because I have a lot of things I want to do, but we want divine time management, right? So sometimes we actually need to do a little bit less with more faith. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just sitting around praying, Lord, help me shred my biceps. But we're sitting there and we're not exercising. We've not done a bicep curl. This is not what I am talking about, where it's just sitting and waiting and it's more just hoping things will happen. It means that, yes, sometimes we wait on God. If He tells us to wait, you better wait, friend. Right? But it takes faith, I think, sometimes to just hand our day and our plans over to God and be like, God, I want to do these things. I think it would be awesome, but I am going to leave the final decision up to you. Sometimes we need to have self-discipline to stop and pray and pause. And you're like, Kate, that's hard for me. I get it. It's hard for me too. I'm going to be very honest here because I have a to-do list. It is color coded, like I am ready to go. And it can, for some of us, it can even make us nervous to sit and wait on anything. And I'm not asking you necessarily to sit and wait for a long amount of time, but just to check in with God. What would you have me do today? A lot of times as we're going through our day, it's like, hey, God, what would you want me to focus on now? And that's my second point is we've got that work ethic, we've got our plan, but we're infusing faith into it, right? Because we are co-creating with God. I don't believe that we just sit on the couch hoping for shredded biceps, waiting for God to do it all. But we're also not grinding and trying to do everything out of our own mind, our own strength, because as a Christian, that's not going to keep us close to God. And a lot of times it just brings burnout, stress, resentment. We wonder why things feel so hard all the time. And believe me, I get it. I've been in those phases of life where everything felt hard. and it stinks. And I had to use mindset and other things to get out of it, because otherwise, man, it's exhausting. Again, we're asking God to guide our time. We're asking Him to guide our work. And then the third mindset that I want to bring to you today, because I know a lot of you are moms, or you're maybe caring for parents, you're caring for people in your community. Seeing these acts of care, it's a spiritual practice, right? It's not just like doing the dishes again. And I know some people are like, don't say you have to do the dishes, say you get to do the dishes. I'm sorry, that still doesn't get me fired up about the dishes. It gets me a little more fired up. If I'm thinking I am modeling good stewardship here, I am trying to bring order to my home. I appreciate order. I know we serve a God of order. Those types of mindsets can help me, because I know it can feel defeating when you get all the dishes done and then you find 18 more, or you have a meal and then of course there's more. Laundry is the same thing. Sometimes those repetitive tasks that you do over and over again, they start to feel thankless, they start to feel boring, they start to feel pointless. And I want you to bring the meaning back, because it is there. If you're showing kindness and love and support to a parent or a child, like, you're showing empathy, you're showing God's love. So please don't get tricked into the idea that sometimes these tasks, they're menial tasks, or they're never done, or they get undone quickly. And I found myself saying this to myself before, and it doesn't bring up good emotions. It doesn't really feel motivating or energized. And so I would just dare you to think about how this is an act of service, how what you're doing is an act of worship, because it is. Anytime we do these things with love and intention, it is an act of service and an act of worship. I'm going to give you a quick spiritual reset technique. I am very much about somatic techniques and breathing techniques. This is based off heart activation breathing. If you're into this type of thing, the main point is that I want you to breathe in deeply into your belly if you can. I want you to put your hand on your heart. And so I know the breath goes into the lungs, but today I want you to imagine that the breath is going into your heart. So breathing in through the nose and breathing out either through the mouth or nose. It's up to you. A few more breaths. So I'm just going to say this out loud for you as an affirmation. You can think it in your brain if you're up for it. It's based off Proverbs 15:4. And so this declaration is, my discerning heart seeks knowledge. Breathe that into your discerning heart. My discerning heart seeks knowledge. Hopefully that felt very nice to you. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like this is too much, Lord, try that breathing, right? We're seeking knowledge. And then maybe afterwards pray, God, what is most important here? Maybe if you're kind of looking at a schedule overhaul, what can drop away? What it was good for a season, it's not good for a season anymore. We're always growing and changing. And sometimes we're trying to hold on to so much that we can't put our best into those best things. You know what I'm saying? So I would just encourage you, invite God into your day, invite God into your work ethic, invite Him into your mothering, your work, your caring for other people, because it matters. And I know you're doing an amazing job. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. So I hope that these mindsets help you out a lot. Please, if you liked this, comment below, subscribe. And remember, in the show notes, I want you to subscribe to my newsletter so that we can stay in touch and I can continue to encourage you. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.